All right, how's it going, guys? I am going to do my own version of the video that's been done quite a few times. Basically, reasons everyone should own an SRT4 at some point. If you're a car enthusiast and you want a car and you don't have a lot of money, get an SRT4. If you're a car enthusiast and you have extra money, get an SRT4. There's no reason that everyone shouldn't have an SRT4 at some point in their life. I've had 3 of them. Had my first one when I was 17, a red 2004 that had 180,000 miles, a few spots of rust, solid. Then I had a silver 2005 that had quite a few mods done to it. The red one ended up hitting a deer. The silver one ended up off the road. And now I have a 2009 Challenger, and I was like, I got some extra money, what should I do? And so I went out and bought another SRT4 because they are just the best, most fun little car you can have to drive all the time. So I guess first off, I'll start with the basics. Start with number 1, the sound. When everyone else was making their cars quiet, worrying about the earth, which, hey, don't get me wrong, I'm worried about the earth too. When everyone was worried about the earth, Dodge said, let's make this thing loud. So let's take a listen to the exhaust on an SRT4. For a 2004 4-cylinder 2.4 liter car, that is about the best sounding exhaust you're gonna find. One of the best sounding exhausts you'll find on any little sports car, honestly. That is aftermarket, so it's a little different than the stock exhaust, but it's just catback, it's nothing crazy, so don't worry about that. And then on top of that, the car comes stock making absolutely ridiculous turbo sounds, and the blow-off valve is so loud. It's like a Focus ST now with an aftermarket blow-off valve is how loud this thing was stock in 2004. This does have a block-off plate from when I bought it. I just got this like 3 weeks ago now, so it's still a work in progress, but we'll get there. So we'll take a listen to the turbo sounds and tell me what you think. I mean, they're absolutely orgasmic, if you ask me. All right, so we've done the basics, the exhaust sound, the turbo sound. Everyone knows that about SRT4s. That's like what they're known for. So now let's get into the other reasons why everyone should own an SRT4. So let's do a little comparison between what the other cars of this time were like. So this competed with like the Focus SVT, the Cobalt SS, of course, is its known competitor, and then the Nissan Sentra Spec V or whatever. And now I'm gonna put up a picture of the comparisons with those cars. So you'll see the picture of those cars and the specs of those cars. And then if you look at this, with how fast this is, 260 horse and 230 foot-pounds of torque, and it looks this good compared to those ugly pieces of dump, I mean, why wouldn't you take this? So I mean, if you're looking to buy a cheap turbocharged sports car, which is the point of this video, why would you pick an uglier, slower one when you can get a faster, better looking one for about the same price? Now, to top that off, none of those other ones held very well. Now this SRT4 right here, This is gonna be a future classic. I mean, it was faster than all of its competition. It was so fast that it was beating Mustang GTs right off the lot. And they only made them for 3 years. The Sentra Spec V was made for like 6 or so. The Cobalt SS was made for 5 years, I think, maybe even more. The Focus SVT was just a terrible car. No one's gonna want that. But yet, the SRT4 still looks like a tuner car, has wheels from the factory that look cool. Big fat wang, boy. Gotta have a big fat wang. Loud exhaust, turbocharger. This is gonna hold to the value. And they shoved the biggest motor they could into their smallest car. I mean, what is more American muscle about that? I mean, you can't beat it. On the inside of this car as well, Dodge fitted it with absolutely nothing. Bare bones, crank windows in the back, but they put a boost gauge in there, and they put Viper-inspired racing seats. Those babies bolster you like no other seats, other than racing seats that you put in there. But for a stock car, I mean, those things are up over your legs. I mean, they are impressive. They hold you in there so nicely. And it comes stock with a nice little boost gauge, like I said. And they all have a manual transmission. So if you can drive manual, kick it to the curb. This is not meant for any people who don't really like cars. All right, guys, and you know how it goes. Obviously, with me doing everything I like about my SRT4, I am going to have to do some things that I don't like. So I will do that, as well as a video on my Challenger RT that I've had for a few years now. I'll do everything I love about that, and honestly, it's basically the same thing. I mean, it's cheap, it's fast, it's loud, and it just looks better than everything else in competition with it. So stay tuned.